What's good, YouTube? It's your boy OMARIORPG. I hope you're having an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And today, we are reacting to the beginner's guide to Elder Scrolls lore. And it's basically Elder Scrolls lore for dummies. I think it's going to be a very, brief, but like in a nutshell type video. I'm not very, I don't really understand most of the lore. Like Skyrim, I understood most things. It was a lot of fun, but obviously there were a ton of games before Skyrim that I've missed. I am going to play those games one day. Oblivion probably is one that comes to mind. And that'll probably be very, very soon. But right now, we will be playing the Elder Scrolls Online. And that's the whole reason why I'm doing this, is maybe there's some lore that I not necessarily need to know before playing Elder Scrolls Online, but want to know. And hopefully this video does that. Now, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, but also this guy's channel is called FudgeMuppet. I hope he doesn't mind me reacting to his videos. Go subscribe to him, go like his videos, go show some love. Without further ado, the beginner's guide to Elder Scrolls lore. Now, the reason I'm reacting to this again is I'm playing the Elder Scrolls Online for the first time ever, very, very soon. Genuinely have never touched this game. Can't wait to jump into it. The only 3 MMOs I've played are Final Fantasy XIV, SWTOR, and Lotro. None of them really grabbed me, so hopefully this is the one that grabs me, because I loved Skyrim, so if it's more Elder Scrollsy, then it should do its job. So let's get into this. The Beginner's Guide to Elder Scrolls lore.
Absolutely zero about the Elder Scrolls. That one friend that you have spent days trying to autistically explain the inner workings of the ridiculously expansive lore, trying to get them into it. But no one understands your Rain Man-like addiction to this expansive fictional universe. It's leaving you all lonely, sitting in your room by yourself, playing Skyrim for the 100th time, role-playing as a Dunmer mage vampire who used to be a baker in Wayrest. So you want to recruit more people, drag them into this make-believe rabbit hole that seems to never end. Well, here today, I've prepared the most digestible, easy-to-understand primer on the Elder Scrolls lore for those very same people. Welcome to your introduction to the Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls
let's see what you got.
For dummies. It all begins when the cosmic forces of chaos and order bump
Chaos!
and then we have the good old universe called the Orbrus. Some extra stuff happens, but we essentially end up with a bunch of original spirits that inhabit the 2 planes, Aetherius and Oblivion. One of these spirits was called Lorkhan, and he had the great idea to create Mundus, the mortal realm. To do this, Lorkhan tricked a bunch of the other spirits into giving up their power in order to create it. These spirits who helped him are called the Aedra, and the ones who didn't help are called the Daedra. They are the ones who chill out in Oblivion. The Daedra are kind of like the closest things to demons in the Elder Scrolls. So these spirits, the Aedra, find out about Lorkhan's treachery and they tear out his heart. One of the Aedric spirits, called Magnus, the dude who designs the mortal realm, and his followers, the Magnagi, run away before they lose all their power, tearing through the barrier of the mortal realm, creating the sun and stars. This is how magic enters. The energy flows from Aetherius through these holes into Mundus. So the Aedra who stayed and finished the creation of the mortal realm mostly lost their power gradually, having to resort to physical breeding and devolving into the mortal races. The most powerful among them remained Aedra, which are later known as the 8 Divines. There is way more nuance to the creation story, and
I remember hearing a ton about the Divines in Skyrim, and one of them was not liked by certain people and loved by others. He kind of looked like a giant Spartan. I can't remember what his name was. I nearly said Thanos. His name, if I recall, is close to Thanos, but Amos or something. I'm sure you guys will let me know. Maybe we'll find out here. But I remember hearing a ton about the Divine in Skyrim.
And different cultural retellings, but these, the most powerful among them, remained Aedra, which are later known as the 8 Divines. There is way more nuance to the creation story and different cultural retellings, but this is a version for dummies after all. So are we all on the same page? Aedra created the mortal realm, sacrificing their own power, and a Daedra just chilled in Oblivion. And yeah, magic comes through the sun and stars. So we got the world, what about the people on it? The place all the games are set on is the continent of Tamriel. This disfigured cube is home to many colourful races.
Ooh, let's have a little look-see here. So we've got Skyrim up here. Vardenfell. I believe Vardenfell is high elves. I'm just going off what I'm just gonna guess, and we'll see. Morrowind, I have no idea. Black Marsh is the lizards. Yeah, the lizard Harry. I can't remember what they're called. Shit, Argonians? I want to say it's Argonians. I'm pretty sure they're from Black Marsh. And elsewhere, obviously, everybody's favourite, the kitty race, the putty cats, the Khajit. I reign from elsewhere. Valenwood, I have no idea. Somerset Isles. Wait, is Somerset Isles the high elves? I can't remember. It might be Vardenfell. One of these is high elves. Cyrodiil, I have no idea. Hammerfell, I have no idea. Skyrim's the Nords. I'll just guess Hammerfell is... High Rock's probably Dwarven. Hammerfell will just go Dark Elves, and then Cyrodiil will go Wood Elves. I don't know.
Races. There are the lizard folk, the Argonians, and Cube is home to many colourful races. There are the lizard folk, the Argonians,
I got that.
and the cat folk called the Khajiit.
Got that.
These are referred to as beast races and are generally believed to have been native to Tamriel. The other two groups of people on Tamriel are humans and elves, also referred to as man and mer, straight ears or pointy ears. The races of man migrated from the northern land of Atmora throughout history, with the exceptions of the Redguards, who are from the western land of Yakuta, and the elves are from the lost continent of Aldmeris. Got that?
Oh, holy crap, I was wrong. Okay, so Hammerfell are the... Okay. Alright. Okay. I get it. Bro, this Dark Elf looks so badass. Alright. Is this a High Elf? So I was wrong? Or is that a High Elf? Are they both High Elves? That's a Wood Elf.
Good. So the original elves were called the Oldmer, and they came from Aldmeris, and the Oldmer split into many different sub-races. The ones who stayed on the Somerset Isles became the Altmer with a T, and they resembled the Oldmer with a D the most, and they have a hard-on for purity and being superior. The ones who went to Valenwood became the short wood elves known as the Bosmer, who after making a deal with a forest god became religiously carnivorous and cannibalistic, vowing to never hurt the plant life of their home. A group of elves from Somerset followed a prophet called Veloth out of there to a new land called Morrowind up here. They followed the words of the Daedra and were staunch ancestor worshippers. They began calling themselves the Chimer, and they would come into conflict with another group of elves called the Dwemer, or dwarves. They are the guys who make all these steampunk machines and have all their awesome advanced tech. These Chimer later turn into the Dunmer, the Dark Elves, and we'll get into that later.
Holy crap, that is badass. The dwarfs are elves in this world. Huh. That is super interesting. So I was wrong, the High Elves are down here, and these High Elves are like, they are called the Altmer, and these are the Oldmer, and they just want to be... Slytherin vibes. Down here we've got Slytherin vibes. And then these guys love the Daedra. So that's why they're all like messed up looking like this. And these guys just love smoking weed. I respect it.
A bunch of elves originally tried to stop the Chimer from elves' advanced tech. These Chimer later turn into the Dunmer, the Dark Elves, and we'll get into that later. A bunch of elves originally tried to stop the Chimer from leaving, but their patron god was eaten and turned into a Daedra, and because of that, they were turned into these green fellas called Orsimer, or Orcs for short. Another group of elves
wait, hold up. Hold up. That's a lot to take in right there. Wait.
Guys who make all these steampunk machines and have all their awesome advanced tech. These Chimer later turn into the Dunmer, the Dark Elves, and we'll get into that later. A bunch of elves originally tried to stop the Chimer from leaving, but their patron god was eaten and turned into a Daedra, and because of that, they were turned into these green fellas called Orsimer, or Orcs for short. Another group of elves who left Somerset were the Aelids, who settled Cyrodiil and built the White Gold Tower. This is the big-ass tower from Oblivion, and now serves as the main seat of power for the Empire. The Aelids enslaved a bunch of the men living there, but we'll get to that later. There are also the Durrani elves who moved to High Rock, and also the Snow elves, or the Falmer, who chilled out in the frozen lands of Skyrim. There are some Sea elves, some left-handed elves, and a bunch of other non-important groups. You get it, there's a lot of elves around, but we covered the main groups of Tamriel. So now for the men. It's a little simpler. Basically, a ton of men came from Atmora and settled in Tamriel over time. The ones who have been in the lands of Cyrodiil, High Rock, and Hammerfell are called the Needs. The Needs in High Rock would become enslaved by the Durrani, and after quite a few centuries of forced coitus and interbreeding, we get the so-called Manmer, half-elf, half-man, aka the Bretons. The Needs in Cyrodiil get enslaved by the Aelids, but later rebel and claim the land for themselves, starting the Empire and becoming the Imperials. The Needs of Hammerfell have a civilization for a while, but then the Redguards come from Yakuta and basically slaughter anything that's not them and claim their new home. Before that though, the Nords come on down from Atmora and through a series of events end up killing the Snow Elves and claiming Skyrim for themselves, establishing an empire of Nords. So now we've established roughly who is who and where is where, let's learn the most important parts of history, the stuff that is essential for you to get the gist of all the political
This is really good.
things going on. So, Elder Scrolls History for Dummies, let's go.
Let's do it.
Tamriel's history is split into 6 eras. The Dawn era, where everything is being created. The Merethic era, where everyone is making their way to Tamriel and interacting and a bunch of mythological stuff is happening. Dragon Wars in Skyrim, Daedra freely walking over Nirn, that kind of stuff. Next is the First era. Early in this period, the Nedic slaves of the Aelids, remember the human slaves in Cyrodiil, well, yeah, they rebelled, led by a slave called Alesia, with some help from a few demigod-type dudes, and the Adric god called Akatosh. The slave queen Alesia initiates a rebellion and overthrows the Aelids and founds the Alesian Empire, the first Cyrodiilic empire. Her covenant with Akatosh means that as long as an heir of Alesia, essentially one blessed with the dragon blood, wears the Amulet of Kings and sits atop the ruby throne, then the barrier between Oblivion and Mundus will stay strong, preventing lots of demon dudes from running around the joint. Alesia also synthesized the Nordic pantheon and the Elven pantheon of gods to create the modern imperial interpretations of the gods called the Eight Divines. These are the guys you hear about, like Kinnereth, Debella, Mara, Stendar, those kind of guys. So that all gets cracking on for a few centuries, and meanwhile in Morrowind, the Kai'ma and the Dwemer finally stop fighting and chum up. Together they team up and kick out the Nords who have been ruling them, but this alliance doesn't last. The tech-savvy Dwemer committed heresy, and they tried to build their own god in the form of a brass golem called the Numidium. They were doing this using the heart of Lorkhan. You know, the same god that tricked the others into creating the mortal realm? That Lorkhan. So they started a war and shit hit the fan, and while meddling with higher powers, the Dwemer made themselves all disappear simultaneously, leaving only their machines and ruins. 3 Kai'ma people, Almalexia, Sothasil, and Vivek, then get to the heart of Lorkhan, and they end up using it to become the living gods called the Tribunal. But they made a promise to one of their Daedric gods, Azura, not to use the heart of Lorkhan, so when they betrayed that promise and became gods, Azura got really mad and turns the entire race of Kai'ma into the Dunmer, the Dark Elves with ash skin and red eyes. The Tribunal now rule Morrowind through a golden age, so stuff keeps happening for a long while, and the Alesian Empire kinda collapses because a religious group of zealots called the Alesian Order ended up controlling it and ruining everything for everyone. So first empire gone, but don't worry, another one comes along. So a group called the Akaviri come to Tamriel to invade. They come from a place called Akavir, which is like the Elder Scrolls Asia, also in the Far East. A guy called Riemann unites Cyrodiil and bravely defeats the Akaviri invasion at Pale Pass. The Akaviri, in awe of their defeat, kneel and pronounce Riemann Dragonborn. Turns out, he has dragon blood. Well, Riemann begins the Second Empire of Cyrodiil and the Riemann dynasty. Over a few centuries, he ends up conquering all of the mainland of Tamriel with the exception of Morrowind, and of course, this excludes the Somerset Isles. So the Riemann dynasty unfortunately ends when a conspiracy ends up having Riemann III assassinated. His snake man Akaviri advisor called Versa Duché announces the beginning of the Second Era, and he and his son rule in place of an emperor for a few more centuries. Fun fact, they both get popped off too, and the Second Empire officially eventually collapses.
Of course.
Then we have a new period called the Interregnum, a time when there was no empire, just pretenders to the throne and squabbling warlords in Cyrodiil. This is roughly where the events of the MMO, The Elder Scrolls Online, takes place. Molag Bal, the Daedric prince of many things unpleasant, tried to take over the world, but yeah, that failed, and there was a war going on between three alliances.
Do I want to hear this? I don't think I want to hear this, do I? Let's skip. Let's just skip a minute, so then we're just like all over the place. I hope that's okay with you guys.
An emperor imposter and a reactivation of the Numidians.
So now we're a little bit lost. We have no idea what's going on.
Of the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. You see, the reincarnation of an ancient Chimera hero called the Nerevarine ended up defeating Dagoth by destroying
This stuff is
the
fine. I'll
Hunted
forget it
Lorcan,
when I play the
slowly
games.
ending the Tribunal's reign as gods. Almalexia, one of the gods, actually went a little mad because her godly powers were fading, and she killed Sotha Sil and tried to kill the Nerevarine, but failed, and she was killed instead, which left only Vivek standing, or floating, but he would later disappear, and then a little more time went by and we have the events of Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. So, a dude named Mankar Cameron started a cult called the Mythic Dawn, which were essentially Mehrunes Dagon's lackeys. Mehrunes Dagon is the Daedric Prince of Destruction, and he wanted to rule Tamriel. They started off with assassinating the Emperor Patrick Stewart, aka Uriel Septim VII, as well as all of his sons. With no Dragonborn ruler, the barrier between Oblivion and Mundus is broken, because remember, Alesia and Akatosh made a covenant that as long as a Dragonblood ruler is on the throne, the barriers are strong. But good thing Uriel couldn't keep his dick in his pants, because it turns out he has a bastard son named Martin Seanbean Septim, the hero of Kvatch, aka the champion of Cyrodiil. The hero of Kvatch, aka the champion of Cyrodiil, helps Martin Septim fight the Mythic Dawn, defeat
Wait, Sean Bean's in Oblivion?
And it all ends in a heroic sacrifice of Martin, where he becomes an avatar of Akatosh to defeat Mehrunes Dagon, and the barriers between Oblivion and Mundus stay forever intact. So, the champion of Cyrodiil actually takes a visit to the Oblivion realm called the Shivering Isles and helps a mad god, but then actually mantles the Mad Prince, aka he actually becomes Sheogorath, the Daedric Prince of Madness. But that aside, the Oblivion Crisis, the continent-wide Daedric invasion, caused a lot of problems, and on top of that, a giant volcano called Red Mountain in Morrowind erupts and kills a lot of Dunmer, and on top of that, a bunch of Argonians, the Lizard Men, invade Morrowind and kill a bunch more, in revenge for centuries upon centuries of slavery, so Morrowind kinda gets blown out. Meanwhile, there is no legitimate emperor, and a bunch of provinces secede from the empire. Eventually, a Clovian warlord, Titus Mede, claims the throne, beginning the Mede dynasty, but at the same time, a radical high-elf purist government rises to power in the Somerset Isles. These guys are the Thalmor. Over the next 100 or so years, the Wood Elves and the Khajiit, the Cat People, join up with the Thalmor, forming the Eldmeri Dominion. 30 years before the events of Skyrim, a great war breaks out between the Empire and the Eldmeri Dominion. A lot of terrible stuff happens, but ultimately peace is made. But this peace came at the cost of outlawing Talos worship, which a lot of people were not happy about. And also, Hammerfell was given up to the Thalmor, but the Red Guards weren't having that, so they just left the Empire and fought off the Elves themselves and actually won. So now it's the year 201 of the Fourth Era, and the dragons are back in Skyrim causing trouble, and there's also a civil war going on between the Empire and the Stormcloaks. But don't worry, you're the Dragonborn, you could absorb dragon souls and use dragon shouts to save Tamriel from the dragon menace. Yeah, there are a lot of dragons and dragon-related things in Skyrim, but I'll just let you jump into that for yourself. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. All of the
I love how he just breathed over Skyrim's lore, because it... I wonder if that was just a dig at Skyrim. It felt like it. It's like, yeah, you're a dragon, and you just kill dragons. It really is simple, isn't it? Man, that was good. That was really good. Listen, I cannot wait to play Elder Scrolls Online. I really can't. Let me see what some of these comments are saying. So your roleplay is a dumber vampire that used to be a baker in Wayreth. What the hell have they been watching this whole time? Me when someone finally understands basic Elder Scrolls lore. Hey, you're finally awake. Finally, 2 minutes in, I can already tell this isn't dumbed down enough for the people I know. Yeah. I had this problem with The Witcher. All my friends laughed at me for playing it. Now, since the TV show, they're all obsessed with the show and games. Casuals. The 8 divines triggered in Stormcloak. Oh, yeah, because they believed the 9 divines, yeah. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too. It was good to learn a ton of lore about this amazing, amazing world that they've created. I cannot wait to play Elder Scrolls Online. I'd say my favorite race is probably like, God, that sounds extremely racist. In this world, if I was to be one, I would choose straight up a high elf. Screw it. I'm a freaking high elf. My nose is to the sky. I'm chilling in Somerset Isles and no one can mess with me. Let me know who you'd be in the comments down below. Like, subscribe. Can't wait to play Elder Scrolls Online. If you've got any tips, put them in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe. Elder Scrolls Online is coming out in the next few days and I cannot wait. Thank you so much for watching and thanks for being you. Take care.